Hey beautiful people, this one is about how to get organized at work when you're feeling overwhelmed. In this episode, you're going to learn how to use a 6-step practice model from my book, The Innovation Mindset, to be able to create clarity and a feeling of control. And the reason why I say that is control's an illusion. A feeling of control is good sometimes. You're going to learn ways to transform overwhelm into organized action and some practical techniques for maintaining focus and productivity. What if overwhelm's actually a signal for innovation? There's also a surprising connection between overwhelm and leadership capacity, and top performers get good at transforming chaos into clarity for themselves and for those around them. By the end of the video, you're going to be able to see the 6-step practice model and learn how to apply it to dealing with your own overwhelm and maybe that of your team as well. And you'll be able to learn how to create sustainable organizational systems for yourself and your team. Overwhelm is something I'm intimately familiar with, so I'm a good person to talk to about this, or at least I think I am. And one of the reasons is I'm a systems thinker. So when you're a systems thinker, and maybe you are too, I hope you are too, is you can see the whole system. You can see the interconnectedness of the system. And once you start doing that, it's actually kind of overwhelming. And you see the big problems and you see the little problems. And once you see the big system, you can also see all the things that you can do to improve the big system. So you take on more and take on more and take on more. And if at the same time you're somebody who wants to be able to help others, you coach others and you take on more and you take on more. And you get yourself to a place of overwhelm pretty fast. Now, as someone who can see the big system, you're also someone who other people come to for help. So now you've got 3 things going on that's producing a bunch of overwhelm for you. You're coaching and helping other people. Kudos to you, very kind of you, thank you very much. You're also able to see the big system, so you can see all the things that you can do to improve it. And the third one is other people are coming to you because you can see the big system and you can guide them and help them in terms of how they can contribute to it and how they can improve it. This is a great place to be, but it's not a great place to be if you're not able to say no. It's a great place to be because you get to play in the whole system and you get to make offers that are very powerful to people in other departments. It'll get you noticed, it'll get you promoted, it'll give you opportunities other people may not have. But if you're living in constant overwhelm, you're just going to show up as someone who is overwhelmed and a little bit chaotic and has kind of lost the plot and doesn't really know what it is that they're doing. So we got to get you out of that overwhelm pretty fast. Now, I was one of those people until I learned something super important. And the super important thing that I learned is that your ability to be able to say yes is as important as your ability to be able to say no. If you're somebody who leans towards overwhelm, learning how to be able to say no is your best friend. So the reason why I say that is I was interested in, and always have been interested in once I understood this concept, the idea of making real commitments, the idea of having an internal customer within my company, treating them like a customer and making real commitments to them. So I always treated my boss as somebody who I was committed to satisfying, not necessarily as someone who lobbed stuff over the wall and handed me to-dos and tasks that needed to be done. I mean, I absolutely did some of those, but I was always interested in how do I build a relationship of customer and performer with my boss. And I talk about this in many of the other videos that I've done. But one of the things that I learned in that is if I was committed to making commitments and I wanted to stand in integrity with the people around me and I wanted them to know where I stood in terms of what I had promised and what I had not promised, if I couldn't say no, I was creating expectations all around me of being an absolute superwoman, which none of us really want to be and none of us are really capable of being unless we learn how to be able to say no. So as you start thinking about your overwhelm, I really invite you to get into the practice of saying, I would be delighted to do that under normal circumstances, but right now I have 5 other things on my plate and I apologize, but I'm going to have to say no in this instance, and I can direct you to somebody else who might be able to help you. Now, if you're one of the system thinkers who wants to help everyone and who wants to support other people and who sees what's possible in terms of opportunities in the organization, it's really uncomfortable for you to be able to say no. But if you can learn how to be able to say no respectfully and clearly, then you're putting yourself on a path to be able to filter out probably about 25 to 30% of the noise and overwhelm that you're currently dealing with, of other people, excuse the expression, dumping shit on you, lobbing stuff over the wall at you, and putting you in a position where you're the go-to person for everything. We want to pull you out of that, and we want to start you saying no. There's a whole bunch of other practices I want to help you do as well, but saying no is a really great start with those. So let's talk about the 6-step practice model for a moment. The first step is to distinguish, and I'm trying to help you distinguish that part of the reason why the overwhelm happens is that you're not great at saying no. Build that as a practice. It'll help you move things forward fast. The other thing is, for you and your particular circumstances are going to be different, begin to distinguish what is causing the overwhelm. It might be one particular thing that you feel has been dumped on you and you don't understand exactly what it is that you're being asked to do. That can produce a lot of overwhelm as well. So when you find yourself in situations where you're unclear as to what it is that you're supposed to be doing, and it creates a certain level of anxiety and concern for you, promise to yourself that you're going to sit down and have a conversation with your internal customer and really understand what it is that they're looking for in whatever it is that they've asked you to do. You can begin to categorize some of your overwhelm into things I want to say no to, and you can always say no after the fact. Obviously, the later you leave it, the more distrust you're going to build. Ideally, you're doing it in the moment, but you can still go back and say no on certain things that you've already committed to do. Just be careful about the consequences. The second thing you can look at is things that I'm unclear on and I'm not really sure who the customer is or what it is I'm supposed to be producing for them, and how am I going to know whether or not they're satisfied. That's a whole other category of things. So you can begin to distinguish for yourself what are the groups of tasks or groups of offers or groups of commitments that are producing overwhelm for you. And the second thing is to begin to observe the patterns. So you can start seeing the 3 things coming into you that I talked about. One is you can see the whole system, you can see all the things that you can improve, and you constantly have a list for yourself of all the things that you want to improve. You might want to look at that as a category of things and see if you can pace yourself there. The other thing is people coming to you because they know that you can see the system and they're looking for help and guidance on stuff. You might want to learn how to have office hours, or how to have an hour when you can help other people, and the rest of your day is for yourself and the work that you need to get done. You can time box some of those things, and you can reduce the number of them, and you can also say no, or you can suggest to someone how they might be able to deal with it themselves. And then the third one is coaching and helping and supporting your people. If you're predisposed to doing that, and that's a powerful thing to be predisposed to, so don't ditch it, but learn how to be able to manage that in a way that is supportive for you. So I work with groups and I do a bunch of group coaching with people, and I also set up one-on-ones for them. I'm not when I'm doing the executive coaching, that's primarily one-on-one, but when I'm doing group work, I usually say I have a morning a week when you can put yourself on my calendar. And so what I'm doing is I'm time boxing that, and I'm looking to reduce my sense of overwhelm. That can help you a lot as well. When you move to step number 3 in the 6-step practice model, you're practicing courage. So it takes quite a bit of guts to say no. So practice with something very small and something very immediate and someone who you trust. And just practice flat out saying, no, I apologize, I can't help. Don't explain yourself. Just say no and see what happens. Now, the person's likely to come back and go, why? And you do need to have an explanation for why. But just the practice of saying no and using the word no is very powerful for the people who are really committed to supporting and helping everyone else around them, and as a result are becoming super overwhelmed themselves. Once you start doing that, what you'll start seeing is that you create space for other people to make offers to you, and you create space to co-invent with other people, which is the 4th step of the 6-step practice model. And in that, what you'll start beginning to discover is that you're soliciting offers from other people to help you. So start beginning to say no, and if you say just flat out no to someone and say, no, I'm sorry, I can't help you with that right now, I'd love to, but I can't, and you're doing it in a kind, respectful way, what you'll find is they'll come back and they'll go, why can't you? And you say, look, I've got an awful lot on my plate right now, I just don't have time to be able to do this with you. And they'll come back and say, more than likely, hey, if I came back to you a week from now and I had done more prep and more thinking and more design around this, would you be able to help me? And you then see whether or not the prep and planning and design that they're going to do is valuable enough for you, or you can guide them to do something more powerful, and then you can send them on their way and they can come back to you 2 weeks from now and you can actually have bandwidth to be able to help and support them. So you'll see people taking more responsibility for themselves around you rather than you doing everything for them, which is debilitating for them in a certain way. As you start doing this, you'll start stepping up to step 5 and step 6, which is you begin to create knowledge. You begin to create knowledge for the people around you, because you're not trying to do everything, you're not trying to control everything, you're not trying to be everything for everybody, and you're not putting yourself in a position of overwhelm. What you're doing is you're actually helping them step up and learn and grow for themselves. Once they start doing that, they become someone that you can create more knowledge and more powerful practices with. Once you have that foundation in place, you now put yourselves in a position where you're actually able to innovate. The innovation piece of it is a hugely powerful piece for you to be able to learn how to deal with some of these patterns of overwhelm that are produced for you. One of your patterns of overwhelm might be Department X lobs stuff over the wall at me on a constant basis. I never really know what they're looking for. I don't know what their standards are. I don't know how they're measuring it. And I don't know who's really responsible over there. That is an opportunity for you to be able to innovate with them and to find more effective ways for you to engage with them cross-functionally, for your team to be able to support them and to be able to design something together that will reduce the workload for everybody. So as you go through this process of dealing with your own overwhelm, you position yourself to be able to do some of the bigger opportunities that have to do more with continuous improvement and innovation that will allow you to be able to reduce what's on your plate. You're also inviting other people to step up and make offers to you in a way that reduces what's on your plate. And you're also taking responsibility for your own power of saying no. As you do this and you think about where you want to move to next, or what the opportunities are for you, or whether or not you want to look for a new position, I invite you to do my Get Promoted assessment. It covers some of these topics. I think it would be really valuable for you to look at. It is down in the comments below. It is www.getpromotedassessment.com. Let me know whether or not this video is valuable for you. Put something in the comments. Talk to me. I wish you the very best of luck, and I've dealt with this a lot myself, so I've been there and I want to support you in getting yourself out of overwhelm. Best of luck.